Welcome to Technically You, where we make tech topics way less confusing and a lot more fun. I've been digging into some fascinating stuff about enterprise mobility.
Oh yeah, do tell.
Well, it's incredible how much our work environments have shifted, especially with mobile tech becoming so central. And
Absolutely. Remember when bringing your own device to work was almost unthinkable?
right now it's like if you don't have your own device, you're behind the times.
Exactly. So you're talking about enterprise mobility management, right?
Yep. EMM has become such a cornerstone for companies these days.
Interesting. Where should we start unpacking this?
Maybe let's start with the basics. A lot of people hear M and think, what does that even mean?
Yeah, I get that. So in a nutshell, EMM is the set of policies and technologies IT departments use to manage and secure mobile devices, accessing company resources.
Precisely. And it's not just smartphones anymore, right? We're talking tablets, laptops, wearables, even those rugged devices you see on construction sites.
Exactly. The range has expanded so much. With BYOD, Bring Your Own Device Challenge is not just managing company-owned devices, but also securing data on personal devices.
And that opens up a whole can of worms for IT teams.
Tell me about it. Employees love the flexibility, but it can be a nightmare to secure.
True, but isn't that where EMM steps in to save the day?
Well, ideally, let's break down the core components. First up, mobile device management, or MDM.
Right. MDM focuses on controlling the actual device and the hardware and the OS. Things like remote wipe, enforcing passcodes, that sort of stuff.
Exactly. And then there's mobile application management, MAM, which is super important for BYOD.
Absolutely. MAM secures specific apps rather than the whole device. It uses things like containerization to keep work data separate from personal stuff.
Makes sense. No one wants their IT department snooping through their personal photos.
Ah, definitely not. Then we have mobile content management, MCM. It's all about controlling access to company data.
Right on. Enforcing data loss prevention, encryption, keeping the sensitive stuff safe.
And we can't forget identity management, integrating with things like single sign-on and multi-factor authentication.
Yeah, conditional access based on who's logging in and from where. It's like having a bouncer at the door.
Exactly. So all these pieces come together to strengthen security, especially in a zero trust environment.
Zero trust is huge now. Always verifying, never assuming. Like that friend who double checks everything.
Totally. And with features like automatic remediation for non-compliant devices, it keeps everything in check.
But, some people might say this level of control is too much. What do you think?
Well, considering the cybersecurity threats out there, I think it's necessary.
But doesn't it slow things down? If security measures are too tight, people might get frustrated.
Thanks for valid point. There's definitely a balance between security and user experience.
Exactly. If it's too cumbersome, employees might try to bypass the system altogether.
Which is the last thing we want. So the solution has to be seamless.
Agreed. Hey, did you hear about that company that had a major breach because of an unsecured mobile device?
Oh, wow, no, I didn't. What happened?
Apparently, an employee lost their personal tablet that had access to company data, and it wasn't properly secured.
Yikes. That sounds like a disaster.
Exactly. It led to a significant data leak and cost them millions in damages.
That's a prime example of why EMM is so critical.
No kidding. It just takes one incident to cause massive problems.
Absolutely. So EMM also helps with compliance, right?
Yeah, it helps companies meet regulations like HIPAA, GDPR, all those fun acronyms.
Fun, ha ha ha. But seriously, EWM enforces policies so they're not just on paper.
Exactly, and that helps avoid fines and keeps the company's reputation intact.
Looking ahead, where do you see MM evolving?
I think AI and machine learning will play a bigger role, especially in spotting unusual behavior.
Ooh, that's intriguing. Like having an intelligent watchdog.
Right, and with 5G and edge computing, we'll see security extending to the network's edge.
Interesting point. Do you think IT teams might get overwhelmed with all this?
They could, but with the right automation tools, it should actually make things easier.
Fair enough. And then there's Unified Endpoint Management, or UEM.
Yes, UEM takes UMM a step further by managing all endpoints from one place.
That sounds efficient, but also like putting all your eggs in one basket.
Maybe, but if done right, it's more secure.
Good point. Any thoughts on zero trust network access?
ZTNA ties everything together by ensuring that only trusted devices and users can access the network.
Makes sense. Security isn't just an IT issue anymore. It's a company-wide concern.
Absolutely. EMM and UEM aren't just about locking things down. They're about enabling people to work safely and efficiently.
And you know what I find interesting? How EMM is affecting not just large corporations, but also small and medium businesses.
Ah, yes. Smaller businesses can't afford to overlook security anymore.
Exactly. Cyber threats don't discriminate based on company size.
Very true. And with cloud-based EMM solutions, it's becoming more accessible for everyone.
That's encouraging, leveling the playing field a bit.
Definitely. And let's not forget about user training. Technology can only do so much if employees aren't educated.
Great point. Security awareness is a big part of the puzzle.
Absolutely. An informed workforce is the first line of defense.
Couldn't agree more. So would you say that EMM is essential for modern businesses?
Without question, in today's mobile world, it's not a luxury, it's a necessity.
Bold statement, but I see where you're coming from.
I'm glad you agree.
Well, sometimes we see eye to eye.
Only sometimes?
Okay, maybe more often than not.
Fair enough. Any final thoughts?
I think we've covered a lot. It's a complex topic, but crucial.
Agreed. For our listeners, if your company hasn't looked into EMM yet, now might be a good time.
And absolutely, do your homework and maybe chat with some experts.
Great advice. Well, that wraps up today's episode.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone.
Until next time, stay tech savvy and stay secure.
Bye.